Yeah, but I think about 5 interceptions came off
That's
the
terrible.
hands of the wide receivers for Jimmy.
Right.
Those interceptions. But then also, Matt Ryan threw quite a bit under Kyle Shanahan in his first year.
Right.
So kind of mirrors kind of what's going on. I think this should be Jimmy's best year. I like Jimmy G. I like him a lot. I'm glad we didn't try to bring in Tom Brady. I think that's kind of over marginalized. Like, we're going to find out about that this year without Belichick. But I don't know. I'm not really I wasn't a big component of bringing him in when we have Jimmy G. I think we got to give him an opportunity. He had his first full season and we went to the Super Bowl. I mean, that means something. I mean, we're a different franchise with him, under the helm. I just think we have to give him an opportunity like we gave some of these bad quarterbacks that we've been through. So, let
me ask you a Jimmy question. Where would you like to see him improve?
Well, I think for one, I just don't think he's the leader that we expected him to be. I'd like you said, I think George Kittle's the face, right? So I think I need to see Jimmy in more command of holding players accountable for running bad routes, making mistakes, dropping balls. You can't always be smiley. You know what I mean? You can't always be, chest bumping with guys, but then not hold them accountable when they're making mistakes. Like, they have to, I see Tom Brady all the time, man. He's a great guy, man. But this dude is holding you accountable. Let you do something. Phillip Rivers, all those guys.
Yeah, it's true.
They hold you accountable, and I need that from him.
Yeah.
And I also too his long ball. Jimmy did not throw the long ball well. Like, he's pretty bad at that. And to see a rookie come in and throw the ball just as well in our division, deep, better than anybody in NFL. Kyle Murray came in. He's sliding the deep ball deep. Like, we need more of that from Jimmy G, because what that does is that they just tighten up on us. You know what I mean?
That's the difference. Kyler Murray's an outfielder. I played baseball. Kyler Murray was a center fielder. That's a guy who grew up throwing long toss every day. Jimmy Garoppolo, I don't know his baseball background, but to me, he looks like a second baseman. He's that dude who makes that flip throw all day, and it looks pretty, but that's a 40-foot throw, bro. It's different. Anyway, keep going. Man. So you say his leadership and his long ball. Anything else?
I think personally he needs to get out of the pocket and he needs to extend the play. Right now he's not extending any plays. He's not allowing receivers to break off of routes and start to use their imagination. And so you see Jimmy G taking unneeded sacks or throwing the ball away, but not really out of bounds into the opponent's hands. So
I agree. And I got something else I want to say. Basically, those are all great points, but the way I see it is he needs to cut down the turnovers. And you said like 5 of the picks were off his receiver hands. Well, he also got lucky with defensive players dropping picks. Against the Rams, against the Seahawks, KJ Wright, Bobby Wagner. So they kind of even out. And what I would say is, look, dude, they're not asking you to throw 650 times a season. You're not the focal point of this offense. You don't have to be the reason they win many games, but you can't ever be the reason they lose one. And if you're throwing 1-2 picks a game, that's unacceptable. Your defense is too good. Your running game is too good. They're asking you to do easy things. So if he can just find a way to cut, because it wasn't just picks, it was fumbles too. And I forget what the exact number was, but I think it was like 17, like one a game, just turnovers in general. If he could cut that down in half to 8, 9, the Niners should be just golden. So what does he have to do? Hold on to the ball when he gets sacked. Don't get fumbled. Don't fumble like with the Jadeveon Clowney play at Levi's. Yeah. And then when you're going to get sacked, when you're taking the hit in the Super Bowl, don't just throw the ball up.
Yeah.
Take the sack. Throw it away. I think that's just a maturity thing. I know you want to extend the play, but you got to know sometimes when it's just over and you got to go to the next play. Don't make a sack into a sack fumble. Don't turn a sack into an interception. Those are things that he can work on.
Yeah.
He stares down a receiver time to time too, man. He, like in the Super Bowl when George Kittle, it's funny, he had to get it to Kittles. Like he was tunnel vision. You saw him looking, and that's why they was batting it down and all that. Like you get too many down balls. That's the D line is telling you we see what you're doing. Like we understand that this is what your 2-step drop. Okay, he's gonna look here. We probably put our hands in there. I'm 6'6" anyway. You know what I mean?
And they have him scouted. It's probably not something that they just noticed on their own. It's probably something coaches pointed out. And I don't know if you guys saw this, but Bonte Hill, who is locally on 95.7, he's one of the guys on the afternoon show, one of the hosts. He posted a video yesterday of the Niners against the Chiefs from the preseason. a 4th down play, Chris Jones batting down Jimmy Garoppolo. I forgot that happened, but that happened in the 2019 preseason. Remember they faced the Chiefs?
Yeah, and
Go back and watch.
Oh, I did, and because especially when I watched it right prior to the Super Bowl too, I just wanted to see how we matched up. But if you look at that game, we were going back to back, with scoring points, but they just looked like they were overwhelming us too in the second.
Yeah.
Not get them off the field on several different times. But Jimmy also looked afraid at certain times of the game, like totally like afraid. And this is preseason.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, that was a few days after he had thrown 5 picks on 5.
I remember that
in practice. Not just 5 picks in the practice, because even that would be national news. But it was like one after another after another. It was like it's like one of those like movies where a guy is like throwing a ball and not trying to make the basket, and it goes in every single time. It's like, how do you keep throwing these picks, man? So we wrote about it. It was a story on NFL Network, and then he needed to go a few days later and play in front of play against the Chiefs. I think he threw a pick on his first attempt or his first drive or something crazy. But then he ended up playing better that season. But it really looked for a minute like he was going to crash and burn last year. If you don't, I don't know if you remember, but Mike Silver reported during camp that Kyle Shanahan is not 100% sold on Jimmy Garoppolo, and they may make a switch to Nick Mullins if things go badly. That was the context heading into the season. Then the Niners win their first 8 games, and we like totally erased that from our memory. But that was part of how we started.
I remember that.
By the way, I like Nick Mullins though.
Me too. He's a gamer.
Got a guts and heart.
Me too. And here's the thing: what you said about Jimmy, Nick Mullins has his own set of weaknesses. Clearly, but what you said about Jimmy occasionally staring down receivers, Mullins doesn't do that.
Not at all.
What I like about watching Mullins in camp is you get to watch his head go through the progressions really fast. He's so prepared, prepared, and
I like
smart.
him.
And just waiting.
I wasn't worried it went down. Like we still got action.
No, go back and watch Jimmy Garoppolo's highlights from 2019 and ask yourself which throw could Nick Mullins not make? If anything were to happen to Jimmy Garoppolo, the Niners should be okay.
It was one I can name one. So it was, what was it, against the playoff? It was the playoffs against Minnesota Vikings when he threw it to Emmanuel Sanders, and it looked like his
money. It was like over the shoulder in between 3 guys. I remember that throw. That was a great throw. One of the best of his career for sure.
That was a pinpoint. I was like,
that was a Jimmy throw. That
was a Jimmy throw. But that's also kind of a Brett Favre mentality. Like, damn it, I'm just throwing this ball. Like,
fit it in.
Nick is not throwing that ball because I believe he's a more of a this guy's not open kind of guy, and I respect that. And that's what I think the Niners need. We don't need a quarterback that's going to lose this game. But I believe in me. So this is his year for me. If he comes out and he doesn't look like he's gotten any better, because we forget he's a young quarterback. We got Sam Darnold with more starts than he does. So he's still a young quarterback in the sense of playing the game. So if I see him coming out struggling early, we're going to be in some serious trouble.
Because like theoretically, when you have the run game and the defense, you don't necessarily need a Brett Favre type quarterback. Because he's going to get you in as much trouble as he's going to get you out of. And you go with that if you don't have the defense in the running game, because he's a great player. But if you have those things, you kind of want a Troy Aikman type, right? I mean, he was a caretaker of a great roster. And Jimmy needs to work on taking care of this team because it's so much bigger than him. And a lot of games, he doesn't have to do much. I mean, the Niners went to the Super Bowl with him completing 6 passes. He needs to remember that.